Everybody's got an opinion, but what's actually true? From careers,
I'm a resident in psychiatry.
A music executive,
creator, influencer, vitu ni nyingi zinafanya.
An events MC, curator and producer.
Super DJ, super producer.
I'm a neurosurgeon by profession.
I'm a rider.
Myths to everyday life debate, we ask the questions you're already thinking and get straight to the point.
To become a psychiatrist, you have to become a medical doctor first.
One word that describes the events world: hectic. Okay? It is H for hectic. God damn.
Real talk.
I can't feel the brain in my hands.
You have to have an ear for music.
Popularity doesn't always reflect greatness.
There's a skit I have of toxic boyfriend. I'm not a toxic, I'm a good person, as you people can see.
No fluff. Just facts.
Unafikiria ni Spider-Man, you can maneuver everywhere. Unakuwa Jesus.
This is Quick Ones.
What's up, people? It's your main man right here, DJ Saint Africa, super DJ, super producer. I do events as well, event organizing, consulting, and this is the Quick Ones. So here, you guys have some questions for me. Let's go. How long have I been DJing for? Professionally, 17 years, but roughly all my life. So what does it take to be a DJ? You have to have an ear for music. You need to know how to learn the crowd, move them according to their moods, and a good selection of music. What am I best known for? Being the life of the party. What is my favorite mix? So my favorite kind of mix, old school, Afro beats. Yeah, that's mostly it. Old school hip hop. First tattoo, got my first tattoo at 18. Funny thing is my mom paid for it. I don't know which kind of parents I had, but they're cool. They really take me for who I am. Yeah. Oh my God. When did I pierce my ears? Well, this is a long story, man. Believe it or not, it's my grandma who pierced my ears. I was in primary in class 2. And it was in remembrance of, so that's the time that my dad died. And they asked me, what do you want, like, in remembrance of your dad? So my dad was this cool guy with his MC Hammer pants. He used to wear a gold loop on one side. So that's where I got it from. And they complied. Are you sure you want this? I said, hey, she took a hot needle and a Uzi. So she pierced and then she knocked down the Uzi over there. First hustle ever in my life. Hey, kutoboa watu masikio chuo. High school. Of which I got suspended for. But we see you aliniuza, man. Snitch. But by the time I'm getting the suspension, I already have like 80 G's. I've pierced like half of the school. Now, I used to use these normal pins with the ball head and a nail cutter. So I pierce you and I cut the sharp part behind with the nail cutter so that it can't dunga you. So I used to have a box of pins and a box of nail cutters as my school shopping. Nimeenda bees. Weirdest song request I've ever gotten. So I'm at the peak of my mix. You're between Niger Afro beats and heading to house. Then someone comes and makes a request for rumba. Just looking at him like, what am I supposed to do with you? And he puts money on the table. Like, play me just this one song. Then you can go back to whatever you're playing. I had to refuse the money because you can't do that. Because it's going to mess up my name. someone who doesn't understand will be like, what's that DJ doing? Yeah, so that's the weirdest request. Most chaotic nights I've ever played. There's a function during Mike Sonko's inauguration. So you know that crowd is rowdy, mad rowdy. It's not a normal crowd. So you're playing and there's a really big crowd. You're enjoying the vibes, and then there's the time when guys are leaving. Guys are like, "Wewe tucheze reggae wewe." That time, I don't even have reggae songs. Ile kusweat nilisweat hapo. So they're like, cheza reggae ama tubebe hizi speaker. I'm like, what? And there's so many, there are thousands of guys over there. What? I had to be taken out by security. So the other DJ was there. I had to continue with some reggae songs that he had. Well, that was crazy. Craziest crowd reaction. There's this one time I was playing for an event. It has like 4,000, 5,000 guys. Then I don't know what happened to the generator. Guys are in the mood. It's like 11 at night. Everyone is dancing. Then the lights go out. Well, those guys almost climbed the stage. DJ acha ujinga tukupiga. So they're throwing bottles up. We had to stay like 5 minutes without music. It was crazy. But then we recovered after. Me personally, as an event organizer and a professional DJ, we go through when we're doing these large scale events. Is it true that DJs have a lot of women? I would say it depends on the DJ's character. But you are very exposed. The attention is a lot, so it depends on what you do with the attention you get. So the attention is there, but what do you do with it? Me personally, I don't have many women. Chajitete. Which are some of the chaotic experiences that DJs go through with the ladies. So, I don't know, kwanza, these chicks are in relationships or marriages. Those are the wildest. Single chicks don't sumbua you, I swear. These are some of the people, especially inside the club. They can't pretend they're making a request. They slip a note over there, or their number, or ask for your phone to get your contacts, stuff like that. And some of them do some crazy stuff. Unawekewa hata tonga hapo kwa DJ booth anakuambia, "Hey, ukimaliza job tunaenda home na." That's when you call security. Someone ever tried to influence my sets with money or favors? All the time. There's always someone who has a birthday, someone who has engagement party, shout outs, all of them. They just, mostly it's mentions that people give money for, and personal song requests. Sometimes that haziingiani na set yako. So if it's in the line of what I'm playing, nachukua hiyo don't buy. But if it's offside, rudi tu na pesa yako. People always assume that DJs are drunk or party. The partying party, yes, but not all DJs drink when they're playing. So they're the drinkers like me, but nakunywa ile nisione matatu kwa machine. Nakunywa kutosha for the mood. And there are some who just take water or Red Bull and play their jams. If I ever been blamed for a bad night, that was not my fault. Yeah, a couple of times. Maybe the sound is bad. Some of the equipment in the club is not working, so you can't give 100%. Sometimes you go to the club, one side of the decks is working, this other one is not working. So you just have to improvise. Unajiambia hapo, I wish ningekuwa nimebeba yangu. That's why, even from now on, I carry my decks in my car. Everywhere I go, in case of any mishaps, I just remove my decks and exchange, I use mine. What's the biggest disrespect DJs face? People always think you're up for sale or something, especially women. Come offer you, hey, it's like uko streets man. At here, here's $100. When you're done, we're going home with you. I'm like, what do you say? Yeah, that's mostly where the disrespect comes from. What scares me more, losing a gig or not going home after a gig? Where else would I go? Hey, hakuna, mi sijipoyangi, so that's not a big deal. I'm a very strict person. I focus. I've ever felt unsafe when I'm working. Yeah, there's some places you can get bookings and the crowd, sasa kusema ni watu wa nini. Mnajua tu hiyo crowd. Hapo mali simu zinakuanga busy. Hata laptop yako inaweza kuwa biashara ukicheza. So yeah. Most dangerous situation I've encountered in a gig. Situation. Yeah, there's some guys who come in, they're let into the club, and some of them they come armed just because they're bosses. So when a fight breaks out there, they start shooting up. Hey, you know you're in danger. Yeah, mostly the high-end clubs. Yeah, it's happened before. But they didn't shoot each other, they shot the ceiling. Do crowds respect the DJ booths? No, you have to put security there. You know, when you're playing for drunkards especially, they don't care. They want to come and dance with you there. They have their drink. They can pour it on the equipment. So you always have to have security there. You decide who to let in, who not to let in. How do I protect myself in rowdy environments? I always have my security. So well, it depends on where I'm going to play. You do your research, you see if it's a safe place for you to come with security or not, or the venue can provide security for you. So that's how I protect myself. As my family take DJing seriously as a career. Well, it pays their bills, so yeah. Bora natoa pesa, what I respect. By force. Have I ever had to explain that this is really work? To who? To my family. It's when they see the checks coming in, it's when they realize that it's actual work. They don't think that you're just there playing around. Nowadays, even if you miss the family gatherings during the weekend, yeah, who are trying to let him make money? So they understand. They worry about my lifestyle. Of course, they think this nightlife is not for everyone, especially after the gigs, going home, you know, it's late hours, you might get some problems on the road. Mostly it's after 4. Yeah, accidents are a lot at night. So yeah, avoid it. Who supports my journey the most? I'd say my mom, and my kids are really excited about it. So yeah, I'd say those ones. Do people overestimate how much DJs make? No, they don't. They don't overestimate because most of them don't take it as an actual job. They take it as ameenda tu hapo kupiga sherehe na kukunywa. That's it. They associate DJing with chicks, alcohol and party. So they don't take it seriously. Do DJs actually make money? Yeah, look at me, ma. They look like money. Exactly. Is DJ income consistent? There are different categories of DJs. So there is resident DJs. Then they get a monthly salary. Then there is guest DJs like me. You go there, perform for a few hours, then you leave the resident DJ playing to open and shut down for you. And there is seasonal DJs. They just go for events. If it depends on seasons, you have to have something else that you're doing, because how are you going to be making money before the season for the event starts? You have to have a side gig that brings you income. The biggest expenses that people don't see. You have to look the part. Like every gig, you have to, like when I'm being called for a gig, you have to make sure you have a budget for the look for that night. Yeah, that's how I work. So you include your budget for your outfit that night according to the price you give. So it's going to be included that, but you're not going to tell the boss that. You just make a quote, ujipange na hiyo pesa umepewa. There's security and there's a risk of also the machine getting damaged or something like that. Yeah. So you have to have extra security. You have to consider all those things. It depends at a distance. Ukiambiwa come for a gig in Mombasa, you can't charge the same as you charge here. You have to pay for, they have to pay for your flights and accommodation to and fro. And of course the fee will be higher. If you're charging 50k here, you'll charge 100 there because of the distance and inconvenience. What financial risk comes with taking big gigs? So the financial risk is when you take a big gig, is them not paying your money, of which I've got it myself. From that, when you book me for a big gig, you have to pay 75% upfront. Then you pay the rest of the money the day after I'm set up. Before I start playing anything, because you know, these big companies, once you've done the work, you start chasing for your money all over the place. You start dodging and stuff, and the work is already done. So you need to safeguard yourself with contracts first. Other times where I was not paid by a client after going for a gig. Yes, so many times, as it was part of my learning experience. That's how I discovered that you have to start using contracts to protect yourself against the clubs, the companies that you're dealing with, and set your terms. So yeah, before I learned that, nimerushwa pesa mingi sana. Is my equipment insured? Yes, it is. Do event organizers take responsibility for safety? There's something called a rider. Before you go for a show, you need to send them a list of requirements that you need before performing there. So if you send that rider and they comply, yes, you're safe. Protection the DJs need but rarely have. Contracts. Most DJs don't work with contracts. So most of the time they're not paid or they're paid too late. DJs stop playing for one weekend, what will happen to nightlife? Hey, I think people will die. You can't live without music. Yeah. So with the life of the party, guys don't just come out to listen to music. It's supposed to be an experience. Otherwise, club owners will be putting music in a flash disc and jamming them in. And guys will groove to it, but that doesn't happen. That's why they're willing to pay us to entertain the crowd. I want my child to follow my path and become a DJ like me. I can't choose a path for them, so I'll just like them to follow their passion, because I believe that if you do what you love, you never have to work a day in your life. So that's what I tell them. Focus on what you're good at and concentrate on that and be consistent. How do I prepare for a gig? If there's any rituals I do, may I just pre-game. I just call up my boys to give me psych. We go for a drink. Then by the time I get to the club, I'm ready. The energy is already there. What do I do when I'm not DJing? I'm a jack of all trades. So natafuta tu biashara zingine. It can be either selling property, selling cars, wherever the money comes in. So I do different kinds of hustle. How would I tell an upcoming DJ? Just learn how to learn the crowd. have a good ear for music, practice a lot, be consistent whether you're working or not. That's how you sharpen your skills. And visit different venues with different DJs who you admire, see what they're doing right, what you're not doing, and try and correct the mistakes that you're seeing yourself. Parting shot is follow me on Instagram. Saint Africa 254. And this was a quick one. I'm out.